Installing Git on Windows. First, let's open up a web browser and then go to git-sem.com. This is the official website of the Git source code management system. And in here, you can also download the latest Git installer for Windows. To download the installer, you can click Downloads, or you can also click this Downloads for Windows icon. So here, just click Downloads. Click Downloads for Windows. This will install the version 2.11.0 on your machine. In this download page, you can also get the older version of Git by clicking this link. And then, just click Downloads. In here, the Git website automatically downloads the version of Git on your system. So right now, I'm installing the 64-bit version of Git for Windows. If you want to have a 32-bit version, you can also click this Windows Setup installation. If you don't know if your machine is a 32-bit or a 64-bit version, you simply go to your Start menu, go to this PC, right-click, Properties, and then look at the system type. You can see here that I'm working on a 64-bit operating system machine. So in your machine, it might be a 32-bit or another type. Alright, after we verified our installer, you can now go to our Downloads folder and then run the Git installer. In here, just click Run. And click Next. In here, you can select which folder you want for Git installation. So you can choose over here if you want to put it on program files, or if you want to put it on local disk on a C drive, or on a different location that you want. But for now, we can just select the default installation. And in here, you can see that it requires around 200 MB of free disk space. So once it's done, just simply select Next. In this section, you can select the components of your Git installation. So here, you can select an additional icons on your desktop. So if you click this, you're gonna have a Git icon on your desktop over here. So if you don't want that, you can just unselect that. And in here, you have your Windows Explorer integration. And you have Git Bash and Git GUI, or the Git graphical user interface. You also have associate.jet config files and .sh for the bash. And you also have this option for TrueType font on console Windows. So here you have different options that you want to take, but for now, we can just check additional icons. Alright, and then select Next. And here, you can just select Next, or if you want, you can change the specific folder. For now, just click Next. And here, adjusting your path environment, you can select here to use JIT from the Git Bash only, or to use JIT from the Windows command prompt. Alternatively, you can also both use JIT on Git Bash and on your command prompt. These options are quite straightforward. The first option is to install the Git onto the Git Bash command line interface. This means that you won't be able to run Git commands in your command prompt. For the second, is to install the Git commands to your command prompt so that you can run them directly even without using the Git Bash. And lastly, for the third one, it will install both Git and the optional Unix tools to your command prompt. This will provide you with more Unix tools to your computer, but it will override some of the native Windows tools such as find and sort. And if you're not familiar with the path environment or the path environment variable, which is being mentioned over here, you can check your path environment variable by going to the Start menu and then right-click on this PC, Properties, select here and type environment variable. And then click this, edit the system environment variables. Over the Advanced tab, go to the environment variables. And then as you can see here, over the system variables, scroll down and look at the path. This path variable is the one being referred to in this page. So it means that the Git installer will install the Git commands and the optional Unix tools to this path environment variable. So in here, you'll notice that after we install Git, you'll see more commands added in our path system variable. Click OK. And let's just cancel this. Alright, for now, let's just choose Use Git from the Windows command prompt. And then click Next. In here, you can select the Windows style or the Unix style line endings. Just select the default one. Click Next. For this section, you can choose between min_tty or the default console window. For now, just select the default and click Next. For these features, you can enable symbolic link, enable credential manager, and enable file system caching. And for this one, configuring experimental options, you can just ignore this or enable it. Basically, this is just a diff tool to check the difference between two files. So mainly, this is used by the Git Bash command line interface. Once it's done, you can click Install. And then wait for the setup to complete. It is now installing the Git commands and the Git Bash along with the optional Unix tools. And it's done. In here, you just untick this and click Finish. Now, after the installation, you can notice that you have a Git Bash shortcut. This is the one that we added in the installation earlier. So here, you can open it up and you will see the Git Bash. This is the command line interface for Git. In here, you can issue different Unix commands such as ls or for list. You can also have uname and date. So as you can see here, we have a Unix-like command prompt. Now, let's try out the Git commands. First, let's clear this out and then issue a Git command. And as you see here, we have the Git command with these options. Now, it successfully verified that the Git has been properly installed in our computer. To test further, let's clone a specific project from GitHub to our Windows machine. To do that, you have to issue a command called Git Clone, and then you have to enter the URL of your project. So, let's open up our Chrome browser, and then let's go to GitHub. So here, just type github.com. And then, if you have your own account, you can log in here and then put the URL of your project or repository. Or if you don't have, you can just sign up for GitHub. And once it's done, you can actually go to your repository or any other repository out there and get the repository link. For example, I have here a NASA link. So click NASA. So it's github.com/NASA. And let's try out to clone this project. GSAP, Generic Software Architecture for Prognostics. Okay. All right. So going back to our Git Bash, let's create a new directory. So let's say make directory NASA and go to that specific directory. And now let's issue this command, Git Clone, and then maximize this window. And here on your right side, you'll see the clone or download button. So here, just click this, and then you can just copy this by highlighting it and Control C, or alternatively, you can just click this button. All right, now it's copied. Let's go back to our Git Bash and do a paste. All right, now we're gonna clone this project to our local machine. Just entered it, and now it's now cloning. Retrieving the objects from this repository to our local machine, and it's done. And then let's do a list or ls. So as you can see here, we have the GSAP folder, which is basically this GSAP project from NASA. And then let's go there, GSAP, and voila. You can see here the projects, the files, and other items, which is actually the same as you can see over here. So you have the test directory, example, framework, images, support, templates, and you can also see that on your machine, the test, example, framework. Now, we've verified that the Git clone is now working on our machine. Let's see if we can also use that on our command prompt. So earlier, we actually enable the Git commands in our Windows prompt, under command prompt. So here, you can just do some test. So we will just go to our C drive, okay? And then let's create a same directory. Make directory NASA, go to NASA. All right, and let's try out Git. Just one check if it's working. All right, so now we've verified that Git is also working our command prompt. And going to Git clone, and then the same URL that we've done in our Git Bash. So here, just paste it. All right. And it's working. It's now properly cloning the GSAP project of NASA. So here, go to GSAP, and it's done. So there and all. Okay. So I've verified that Git is working on both our command prompt and on our Git Bash. And if you want to also check the specific optional Unix tools that the Git installer had installed on your computer, you can just check your path environment variable. So here, you can check it on your start menu, and then going to this PC, properties, just like what we've done earlier. Go to here and type environment variables. Click this, go to environment variables, and then under system variables, select path and edit. All right, so as you can see here, I have the Git commands as shown over here. You can actually copy this and go to that specific directory. So here, just copy program files /git/cmd, and then paste it over here, command. And there you go. Here are the list of Git commands that were properly installed on my machine. And alternatively, you can also check that on your command prompt. So here, you can just do a clear screen and then do an echo path. All right. So as you can see here, here are the commands associated on my path environment variable. And the Git command is shown over here.